So Peter says, prayer does nothing. Action is the answer. Well, let's take a look at your first statement to show how that is wrong, and then we'll look at the second statement and show how that one is correct. But before I get into it, I want you to sit there and in the comments tell me how prayer has done positive things for you. Prayer is associated with a reduction in anxiety, depression, improvements in mental health, and there's also clinically documented, significantly clinically documented changes in mental state, and biology can even change through prayer, and it's medically documented. Although things like the placebo effect and remission and regression to the mean and a whole bunch of other things might go into exactly why prayer works, there are still things that do not rule out divine intervention. I'm getting ready to give you a story of one case of divine intervention. Now, there's a lot of these, but I'm going to give you one specific one in this story right here. In the year 2014, a woman named Ruby was having a routine C-section to deliver her baby girl. She was recovered or sent to the recovery room after the C-section, and while in the recovery room, she went into cardiac arrest. They think it was due to an amniotic embolism, a rare condition. But anyhow, they worked on her for 2 hours to try and get her to come back, and they couldn't get her back. They had her hooked up to ventilation. They were doing chest compressions. They could not get her heart to beat at all whatsoever. 45 minutes, there was no chest compressions done at all, so her heart was not beating for 45 minutes. Her family was called into the room to say their goodbyes before they were going to declare her dead. And her family got down on their knees and started praying to God. And just before the doctors were going to sit there and pronounce her date, where they read the time and say time of death, just before he could announce the time of death, her heartbeat just boom, just started beating again normally. And the doctor sit there and said, she's probably going to have extensive brain damage. I mean, there's 45 minutes her heart wasn't even being beat by chest compressions at all. And her mother sat there and said, God doesn't do things halfway. And she woke back up. It was like nothing even ever happened. She had no trauma from the chest compressions. She had no trauma from the electrical shocks trying to get her heart to restart, and no brain damage. It's like whatever happened to her didn't even happen to her. And they prayed to God, and this shouldn't have happened, and she just sprung back to life. And you can look her up. Her full name's down in the caption if you want to get her name and look up her story. So Ruby's case is not just a case of miraculous healing, it's also a case of miraculous resurrection, because she was essentially dead for 2 hours and suddenly came back to life. And things like this happen quite often in the medical field. So next time someone tells you prayer doesn't work, it does indeed work. But let's address the other half of Peter's statement about action. I agree wholeheartedly. Take action. If someone needs something and you have the ability to help them, help them. Don't pray for them and not help them. Pray for them and help them. You never know. You may be the answer to their prayers. They may have prayed to God, and God sent you to answer that prayer. So just make sure you take action along with your prayers as well.